You can do various operations with functions, including adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. It's easier to break down the functions rather than to see it in this notation. And so that would be the first thing that I would do when you go through an example. One thing that you should know is that if you have a quotient of functions, that your denominator cannot equal 0. So there may be a domain that's going to be affected. For the first problem, we have f of x equals x squared minus 1 and g of x equals 2 over x. If I were to look at going ahead and adding the two functions, it would be f of x plus g of x. And if you write it that way, it's very easy to see what you're looking at. And so I'm just going to write down x squared minus, I like to put the x terms out front and then the constants at the back. And so the new domain would be all real numbers except 0. So I can write that down as the domain, and I could do interval notation from negative infinity to 0, union 0 to positive infinity. Looking at multiplying, you're going to have f of x times g of x. Again, now it's just a matter of substituting in. So it's x squared minus 1 times 2 over x. Distribute through, and you're going to have 2x minus 2 over x. Again, the domain is going to be the same thing because the denominator can't equal 0. Looking at this problem, I'm going to again show how to break down those functions. And now it's a matter of substituting in. So it's just going to be the first function. And again, I'm going to put the x's in order. And the domain in this case would be all real numbers, and you could use all real number sign. Secondly, looking at the division of this one, again, what I would do is put f of x over g of x, just so it's easier to see, and you're just going to do a substitution. When you do that, you would get x to the 1.5 power. This is x to the 1/2 power. So you're going to subtract those exponents. And again, plus 4x to the 1/2, which would be the square root. And the last one would be minus 7 over x square root of x. In this case, you would have some restrictions on your x's. In fact, x cannot be a negative number and x cannot be 0. So the domain in this case is going to be all numbers greater than 0. If, again, x is negative, that would create an imaginary case. So that's how you do operations of functions.